Welcome everyone. We'll be starting in just a few minutes. Probably help if I turn my microphone on. Hi, everybody. Welcome today. I'm very honored to have you here today. We're going to go into a channel here in a little bit and talk about, bring some stuff in for the group. Just wanted to allow people time to get in and get settled in before we did that. And we have Debbie with us here today, too. So Debbie will be working with us to read the questions and probably also in the chat room, too. So hi, Debbie.
Hey, everybody. Glad to have you.
Yeah, good to be here. And we remind you all, please, if you like what we're doing here, the best thing you can do for us is to subscribe to this channel and to hit the like button. Those things really help. They really help quite a bit with Google's new algorithms and the way that they measure things. So anyway, big help. Okay, so today we've got a few things going on. The group has been talking about this crack in reality. I am very curious what they're talking about. So people have asked me, what does this mean and what is it? I don't know. I honestly don't know. We'll have to wait to see what they're talking about. But there's something coming up that they want to talk about specifically, and we'll let them take care of it here in channel in just a few minutes. So we've had a lot of things going on here at Espavo. I do want to tell you also that we have a new event coming up that I'm very excited about. It's going to start next month in March. We had some things set up for February, March, and April to go through. And I set them up. We put them in the store. We did all the things about it. The group was not happy with what I was doing. It's pretty simple. They weren't in completely accord with what we do. So we pulled it down. We did the first month of it. We just finished that, which is really kind of exciting. I really enjoyed doing that with the red light, and especially the one yesterday that we did with the with the universal energy. So there's some really wonderful stuff there on the first one, but the next two we have discontinued. Instead, we brought back something new that I think you're going to really enjoy. The thing that's going to start in March is going to be called the Age of E. It's all about stepping into empowerment. And furthermore, they actually say that we have an opportunity to start planting the seeds for a fully empowered society, and what that means and what that works with. We have a lot of things going on here that are going to open the doors for that, but I will tell you we've got a lot going on with the process. So the 3 days that we're going to spend there, we're going to be working not only with what that means, what does an empowered society look like. They're going to talk about Lemuria, when we did have fairly close to a fully empowered society at one point. They're going to talk about some of the stories of that too. Then they're going to talk about the E factor. How do you empower other people safely without losing your boundaries, without crossing over in some ways? And then, of course, the last piece is, how do you empower it yourself? How do you empower you? How do you accept your empowerment and stop giving it away to all these people that are lined up to basically take your power if they can? So we're going to be talking about that. It'll be the first 3 days of next month. After that, into April and May, we are doing a combined event for April and May. That one, we're not quite ready to release yet. We still have some work to do on the page and to be able to do it, but I'll tell you, I'm excited about it, and so is the group. That one's going to be 7 steps to practical magic. They want to give you ideas of things that you can do right now, things that you can anchor with that'll also work pretty well in the 5th dimension as we start to raise our vibrations in different ways. But there's 7 important steps to that process that they want to cover. And they'll be covering it over 6 days, 3 days in April and 3 days in May. Okay, with that, we'll end today by bringing one of those online for you too as well, because we want to be sure and tell you what's going on with the rest of the gang here at Espavo and steverother.org. So that's kind of what's taking place. We do have a fair amount of questions today. You can ask questions in the chat room. And for those of you in the chat room, please tell us where you're from. We'd love to see where everybody's coming from and what that looks like. We only have a few people right now, but we got one from Sweden already. Awesome. And from Cape Town. Good. Germany. Boy, we don't have anybody from the United States yet. That's amazing. Okay. Anyway, thanks for doing that, guys. It really kind of helps us get an idea of where everything's going and where we're at right now. So in the beginning here, I'm going to step aside right away and start working with bringing the group in, let them bring through the channel that we're going to bring through, and we'll start from there. But thanks for being with us here today, for spending part of your Saturday with us, or whatever day you're watching this. I hope you enjoy it, and I know I am. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So with that, I'm going to tap into the group, Espavo. Greetings, dear ones. I am the scientist of the heart. I've come to join you this day. You have so much that is taking place on your planet at this moment. So let us start by explaining a little bit of what is taking place from our perspective so we can share with you what is happening, and particularly some very special opportunities which are coming up in late April, early May. Now, we're going to give you some wide berth of when these things are going to take place because it's not up to us. It's up to the collective vibration of humanity. You have been going through massive changes, dear ones, on your planet for quite some time. Different things have shifted very quickly. You're rewriting the scripts that you were originally born into. You're basically doing everything in a little different way. We'll also talk to you later about what we call conscious contracts. You see, you make your contracts on the other side of the veil before you come in, things you wish to complete, things you wish to take to the next level with this person or that person, or this spirit or that spirit. And you come in and you work out those contracts. However, there are also contracts you can script here on the planet. You can script contracts the same way that you script them at home. You're not quite familiar with how that all works, but we tell you that is opening up to everyone in the days ahead. And that's very exciting from our perspective to watch. You see, as we've told you, there are so many changes taking place on planet Earth at once. There are also a lot of visitors on planet Earth. There are many that are simply there to watch what is taking place. There are many that are there to kind of help in some ways because they are interested in helping. We're talking about what you would call ETs or EDs. The reality is that they're around you quite a bit right now. And they're watching. They're very excited about what is taking place. Now, they don't have to go through the changes, so it would be very appropriate for them to be excited about something that is absolutely driving most humans crazy. But that is what is going on. So as you evolve, as you change, you raise vibrational levels. We've spoken of this many times. And yet there are times when the vibrations around you do not quite match the vibrations that you're putting out. And when the collective vibrations start to rise very quickly, but the rest of humanity, in other words, your systems, the way you work with each other, the ways that you have set up to work in harmony, those are your systems. And the systems tend to change the slowest. Well, what is taking place is you have some very interesting cross things that are taking place. A little while back, we told you about 4 Stargates that are opening. Those 4 Stargates have clearly opened and have been bringing through beings to work with planet Earth. They're not only working with the planet Earth, but they're also positioning themselves to work with humans. You will see much more of this in the days ahead. Now, will there be a time where someone lands in a spaceship and walks up and says, "Take me to your leader"? They already know your leaders, trust us. It is the rest of humanity that they're trying to show themselves to, and they are interested in showing themselves to you. So please understand that will take place in your lifetime. There's many things that are going to be happening between now and 2030. 2030 is actually a pivotal year on planet Earth for humans. You have opportunities to go in many different directions at that point. And what we wish to work with you on at this stage is how to ground right now, how to be in your physical body and to anticipate some of the incredible things that are opening up. Now, when that takes place, you have a collective that you call your reality. It's very simple. That is the way that you get up. You expect to see certain things. You go to your car in the morning to go to work. You see the same things on the way to work. You see the same things that you're progressing through your day. That is what you would call your reality. And we also tell you your reality is made up. You're making this up as you go along. And you make a collective vibrational reality, which basically means that you all agree that when you look over here, you're going to see this. And when you look over here, you'll see this. It is basically an accepted process. But now you have beings that are starting to evolve rather quickly. Many of them are you that are watching this. They're starting to change and look for higher truths all the time. As you start to work with this new energy, you see the potentials for what we would call a crack in reality, an opportunity to see things from a totally different standpoint. But it's not just you. It's all of planet Earth is going to have this opportunity in the near future. So we tell you there's a specific waves that come through your planet, and there's a wave that's coming through, a rather elongated wave. It'll take almost a month to completely go through, and its peaks and crevices to go through all the time. But we tell you this wave is coming through at a certain spot. And right about the middle part of April, all the way through the middle part, of May. So roughly 1 month period time, you have a huge crescent that is going to peak. Now, we can't tell you exactly when it's going to peak because it's about the collective vibration. This is up to all of you on the planet as to when this is going to happen. But when it peaks, some very interesting things can take place. First of all, this crack in reality will allow people to suddenly start seeing things from a different perspective. When you have this crack in reality, it is only a crack in your multi-dimensional reality. So as we've said, there's not just one of you on the planet. There are 12 of you in each segment. In truth, you're infinite. There's no beginning and no end to your experience, but you're in groups of 12. So you have your higher self and 11 different yous having different experiences, different opportunities to see things from different perspectives. Over here, you might be a religious person. Over here, you're an atheist. Over here, you're very heavy in politics. Over here, you're not. Over here, you're married and have 3 children. Over here, you're single. You get to experience so much of these things, which is why it's so difficult to put you into a normal classification. What is normal? Well, that's a very interesting question. You all think that you're not normal, which is really interesting, because if you were able to see some of your other dimensions, you would know that there's a wide berth of what is considered normal and what is not considered normal. But you are normal in all of them together. Now, when these big waves and peaks come through, and the one we're speaking of, the crack and potential crack, we'll call it, in reality, will be taking place. And when that happens, you have the opportunity to see your life, your experience, your drive to work, all of it, through the eyes of another one of your dimensions. Now, that gives you opportunities to see things in different ways. Many people will be changing their views during this time, one way or the other. Is there a right way and a wrong way? Well, no, dear ones, there isn't. That's the fascinating part. When you come home to our side of the veil, there's no right or wrong. There's no up and down. There's no good and bad. It's all the same. It's all beautiful. It's magical, and that's what you're creating in your reality on Earth. So what we suggest you do with this is to prepare for it. Know that there will be this peak coming. Now, this can show up in many different ways. It can show up as a negative of something taking place on a large scale to block something. As we have told you before, as you change very rapidly the way you are doing right now, what takes place is your systems change the slowest. If they don't change, if they don't adapt, and some of them pride themselves on not adapting, if they don't adapt, they usually crack and fall apart. So this could be a potential negative that you experience in your life. Oh, something just happened. Oh, this took place and this took place. But when you get to the other side of it, you'll see that this is setting you up for a whole new view of humanity. New opportunities to be able to see things from a fifth dimensional standpoint, even though you're looking at the third dimension, even though things are taking place in a different way. This is an opportunity for all of you. And what we ask you to do is to simply prepare yourself by releasing some of your heavy belief systems as you walk into this. Or as you walk into something and you carry your belief systems with you, you open your eyes, you see something, and you say, oh, that doesn't fit with what I'm doing, so you ignore it. Well, you have total free choice of anything you wish to bring into your world. But we also tell you this crack in reality will be real and will allow a lot of people to readjust their visions of humanity, of the earth, of different process, which is the reason that we wanted to work with empowerment right away on this planet, which is why we had to keep change those seminars that he was planning on doing. We want to speak about when you have this crack in reality, how can you not only benefit from it, but how can you plant the seeds for an empowered society with all the people around you? How does one live in an empowered society? It's simple. You empower all the people around you. And suddenly, your life becomes much simpler, much less complicated, much easier in many different ways. Those are incredible opportunities for all of you to experience. And we tell you there's lots of other opportunities that you can see. You're going to be looking now for the stars to see if there's some alignment that we're talking about. You'll be looking at numerology, many of the ways that you have of looking into the future. And that's wonderful. We tell you this is about the collective vibration of humanity. It's not about the stars. It's not about an imprint that you're receiving. It's about the waves of the human heart collectively. And that is a magical point. So whatever it is that is going to push this crack open, be prepared for it. Know that you have an opportunity to see things from a totally different standpoint and to reevaluate even some of your greatest opinions about things. This is incredible because it can open up the human heart to take in more information and stop segregating itself. You're so incredibly separated on this planet right now. It was done intentionally, dear ones, to control you. But the reality is you're in charge, not them. So take these opportunities. Look again. Reevaluate everything that you can see through this crack in reality that is liable to show up. Now, we've talked before about CERN, about the Large Hadron Collider underneath Switzerland and several other countries. And what is taking place with that? Well, we tell you a little while back, they opened a portal. They opened one of those 4 Stargates, and another is prepared to open. So you're liable to see even more information coming from these areas. It is absolutely beautiful because when you open a portal on planet Earth of that nature, it's almost as if you have opened a back door and you've invited in beings. Well, you might be concerned about that. What if they want to take us over? What if they wish us harm? What if they wish to take us as slave race of beings? Well, you've already been through all of that, so do not concern yourself with that. Know that you are being well taken care of, and the guardian at the gate happens to be your 4 parental races anyway. They're not going to let anyone in that wishes you harm. Trust us. But we also tell you that you are in a magical time. Now you have options. You have opportunities to make this shift easily or to make it more difficult. And typically it would be more difficult because humans resist change naturally. Prepare yourself for the opportunity for something better. Prepare yourself for that opportunity to see things that you have missed before. Allow yourself to say, oh, maybe I was wrong about what I saw. Maybe I can see through the eyes of another person that I thought was on the other side of whatever it is you're working with. We tell you, dear ones, you have some wonderful opportunities, especially the rest of this year. 2026 is a potential for a year of massive change on your planet. Now that change may, as we said, look as a positive or it may look as a negative. It really makes no difference from our perspective because we don't see positive and negative. We don't have a good and bad. Neither do you. So keep that in mind and experience everything with an open heart. Try to see from as many perspectives as you can and watch the grand illusion start to fade away as you start to regain your power. So when you start to see some of these things, know that what you're seeing is not through the eyes of another human on earth. They're through the eyes of one of your other spirits, one of your other multidimensional selves. And that is fascinating because you have so many different experiences. Every time you have a choice, you have choices to make. You choose the best potential for you in that moment. You sometimes wonder what would have happened if you would have chosen a different way. Well, you did choose both. You choose one in this lifetime and the other was chosen by one of your other 11. You get it all. So you can start to see from a larger perspective. And this will be simple. It won't be that you walk outside and see a crack in the sky. That would be wonderful, but that's not what happens. What takes place is suddenly you start getting ideas, strange ideas, ideas that you didn't have before, ideas of being able to walk as a different person. That is the oversouling of some of your other dimensions of time-space. There are new things that are possible because of the human evolution right now. Spirit is gearing up for the next level of humanity. We can't wait to see where you take it. So open your hearts, love fiercely, play often, and treat each other with the greatest of respect. You're looking in the eyes of God. Know that your world is changing and you have created it so. And with that, we now start to take some questions. Espavo, dear ones.
Hey, everybody. Great to see everybody out there from all over the world. And I have a few administrative announcements to start things off, just as reminders. One, if you happen to have a technical problem or a question about the site, the navigation, the courses, or whatever, use the help desk email, or there's a support link down at the bottom of the page. So please send those kind of questions there. Kathy or another staff member will read these as soon as possible, and they can try to help you quickly. As usual, thank you, Kathy. The email for SpiritCast for this session every month may not be read until right before it's time for the new session, so you won't get an answer right away, potentially. So anyway, be aware of that. Then secondly, be aware that Steve will usually try to answer questions that benefit a lot of people, rather than just the individual asking the question. So for this reason, he'll sometimes give personal questions a lower priority. So if you have a lot of questions coming in, they might not come up in the session. So just to make you aware. So that's it for the administrative options. And thank you, group, for the very interesting information about the rift or whatever crack to come. That will certainly be interesting to see. Having said we don't take personal questions that often, we do have one that's been in since June that Steve and the group said that they would answer for them now. And this is a question from Susan R. in Denmark. She's been following Steve and the group for about 10 years. Her question: after 63 years, I have been cleaning and healing and develop myself every day, from hell to peace. I'm in sort of a waiting room, I presume. I would love to meet the love of my life, feel safe in money, having enough, and finally find my spot in life and find a way to heal through my words, spoken or written. But I feel stuck. Am I doing it right this life? I try every day to trust in the universe, God, and that something will or someone will show up. And meanwhile, I'm beating myself for doing nothing to make it happen. So, did I get it right or wrong? When to row and when to follow the stream has always been my challenge. Thank you.
We love it. We love it. Well, following the stream is obviously the easiest piece to be able to do that. And all of you wish to follow the stream at some point in your lives, simply because it's easier. The whole flow has been laid out for you in some ways. And yet, you have also made contracts on the other side of the veil. Now, what we see is that you are extremely attached to an idea. Attachment comes from only the future. It's not possible to attach yourself to something that has already happened. So you attach yourself to some potential of the future. Releasing that attachment will actually allow things to happen. And we know that sounds strange, but just as if you are watching something, you're watching the phrase that they use here in the United States is you can't watch the pot boil. If you watch the water trying to boil, it takes longer. So it says. And that's exactly the situation here. You have an attachment which is taking a lot of your energy while you're trying to do things right, while you're trying to do things in a different way. Are you doing it correctly? Are you in the right place? And if you are, where are your results? Well, it's the results that we wish to speak about. Because if you are trying to create something in that way, people do not create relationships. Please understand that. You harmonize with a relationship. Even if you set energy to create a potential for a relationship on the other side of the veil in the form of a contract, it only means that you're going to meet. It doesn't mean that you're going to step forward and have a relationship. What it means is that you're going to have that opportunity to create a relationship or to create things in different ways. You have two of these contracts around you right now. One of them does not suit your needs at this moment. You don't have the energy for it, so you would look at that person and not think that they were a potential. They would not interest you in that way. And yet the other one, very much so. So you have possibilities that are there. What we ask you to do is to put aside your bodysuit for a little bit. The bodysuit is a part of you which carries all your beliefs and your energies. It's almost as if when you were born, you were given a robot and you were told to program this robot to walk around on planet Earth and to be you. And occasionally you have to correct the programming. Occasionally you have to change things. You have to shift things. That is your bodysuit. And your bodysuit naturally reacts in certain ways when it is presented with certain aspects. Well, we tell you, you can program that to open up to potentials. We ask that you push past some of the things that you would think and not say. There are times that you have thoughts, but you are afraid to speak them because of the very simple fact that you are such an empath that you're afraid of the effect that it's going to have on the person that you're speaking it to. We're going to ask you to put some of that aside. Dare to just let the energy flow. Dare to just speak what is in your heart at that moment and not worry about filtering it out or worrying to get the highest results. Just be a little crazy and you'll start bringing in a lot of the results which are right in front of you now, but you're overthinking much of it. As we've mentioned many times, dear ones, there's two aspects of creation. One is the mind, one is the heart. They have to balance. It's very simple. It's not easy because humans working in metaphysics want to go strictly in the heart, but you need both in order to manifest and to work in this world. You'll find you have lots of capabilities, much more than you know. We hope that helps. Espavo, dear one.
Thank you. That turned out to be of good advice for all of us. So thank you. Now we have a question from Carol M. She said she recently watched an interview that you had done on para-reality. In it, you said that humans were being controlled with technology that we know very little about. What is this? Can you tell me more, and especially how to avoid its influence? Thanks so much. You are loved.
Yes. Well, the truth is you're all being controlled. You have been successfully controlled in the last several years. It has happened by advances in technology which have far exceeded your awareness in many times. Now, you have been aware of this before. There have been the times where the United States government was actually caught prying in on all the people that it served without reason for it, without the ability to actually do it. But the technology was there and it was used. It has been used in many ways. You know, if you simply go back to 2015, 2016, there was a company in business that was being used by many people in in politics. It was called Cambridge Analytica. Now, Cambridge Analytica was simply a consulting firm to work with people, but they discovered something very interesting. They discovered a method of being able to influence people in mass. We tell you this had huge effects. It was able to frustrate people so much that they moved into populism. Populism is when you elect someone or you do something politically having to do with popular reason. Only popularity, not common sense, not even the best of the potentials. But that happens from time to time on planet Earth. It was discovered and pushed to great lengths. It is what has caused much of the separation. Now, Cambridge Analytica, of course, was discovered. It was brought before the governing agencies and questioned and so forth, and found that actually no laws were violated. Yes, there was a problem with Facebook getting their information, but even without that, this system worked. Now, after they were discovered, after it was done, they went underground. They disbanded Cambridge Analytica. But dear ones, the technology never goes back in the bottle. It simply went underground, and it is being used in very big ways. We tell you it's also aligning many things that are taking place right now. You have very interesting things taking place in the United States having to do with politics and the government itself. It is rewiring itself in many different ways. You have lost your democracy some time ago. You didn't actually have a democracy, but nonetheless, you've changed your whole system of government now. It has been taken over by many. And we also tell you that it's not going to be easy to get back, for the very simple reason that people are aligning themselves with this energy. They know that by aligning themselves with this energy, they will be able to stay longer in the new game that is being created right now. And they're working very hard to align themselves with this government. Well, that is causing challenges, dear ones. You have different aspects of things that you need in order to have this system work. One of them is simply news outlets. You have to have news outlets on your side. Well, we tell you 3 of the big news outlets in the United States have now gathered on the other side of your veil. They've gathered in different ways, and they're starting to do things quite differently to align themselves with the government that is now in power. And we tell you these things are going to be very difficult to get back. They're very challenging. They've taken years for you to create. And now they're starting to shift to a closed system where it's going to be very challenging in some ways to do these things. And we tell you that this is all of your choice. Now, fortunately, we have this crack in reality where people are liable to see things differently in the very near future. But even so, even if everyone suddenly sees the corruption that's right at hand, they won't be able to change it very easily. We tell you the money is controlling your systems right now. And it's a lot of people. It's not one company, but it's a lot of the money that is doing it. So you look in those areas. So you simply say, well, no problem. If we have problem with XYZ company, we simply won't buy XYZ products anymore. No problem. We'll take their money away from them. But we tell you there are so many of them, and they are all aligning themselves with corruption at this point. That is difficult to change. There are many countries that have done their best to eradicate corruption, because they know that they cannot be a global player until they do. And otherwise, they are completely isolated. And that is also liable to happen with the United States. Now, that is a sad situation, but that is where things are moving right now. We tell you it's not about idealism. It's not about trying to protect humans. It's not about abortion. It never was about abortion. It never was about gay marriage. They simply went and got people that were very interested in that and started promoting that so that they would get on their side. It's a very simple situation, but it's also very convoluted, and it's coming up for review very quickly. You'll have opportunities to see this from many different perspectives. Take a look at what has happened to you. You are being controlled. Now, it could be something very simple as advertising. You see, humans all have certain attributes. You have, very simply, certain things that you all share. Repetition is one of them. You show you something over and over and over and over again. You make a spot for it in your life. It's very simple. So with those things, you know that there are different aspects that you can work with. Your innate biases can start to change. You can start to evolve past many of them. And lots of opportunities with that. We hope that helps a little bit. We know you'd love to find out a little bit more of who's responsible or what's doing, but we tell you it is a very large base that is moving in this direction, which is why it is going to be very difficult to change the directions of this. But even if you uncover the corruption is right out in the open for you to see now, and it's not able to eradicate it. So take a closer look. Take a look at what's going on from a larger perspective and how you have possibly been divided yourself. If you're on one side or the other, you have been divided. We hope that helps. Back to you.
All right. Coincidentally, the next question is very related to what you've just been talking about, and also world events just today with the U.S. attacking Iran. So George asks this, and I'm sure on behalf of many people, can you tell me what is going on with the United States? Will we ever get our country back?
Your country has basically been divided into duals. You've been living in a field of duality, which is the reason you have two primary parties, political parties in your system. There was opportunities for a third party to come along to take different aspects. There was different ways of having this happen. It even was attempted not too long ago. And what took place was a rather interesting situation, because what happened was you had a whole party come forward saying, we're frustrated with all this system. We want to see something completely new. And they were called the Tea Party. But the Tea Party was very quickly enveloped into another party, were they not? Very quickly, the party that enveloped them and took them on basically altered their own systems, altered their own idealism even, to try and incorporate, to try and bring these under one side. Because of having two parties only, dear ones, you're always in this balance. And one party has always outbalanced the other party as far as numbers. So the other party has to do other things to make up for it. And that's where some of your challenges have been. Now, we're not telling you one party's good and one party's bad. What we are telling you is you're stuck in a two-party system. If you wish to get out of it, look at a third party. I will tell you right away, it will try to be enveloped. The money will try to grab it and control it if that happens. It could be one of the best things that take place for you in the future. Or you're stuck in this dualism that doesn't work. It never did completely work. It worked originally when you were talking, but now you don't talk. One side does one thing, the other side does the other thing. They don't even cross the aisles to shake hands anymore. You're living in a completely separated system. Now, the question is, will you get it back? Well, you may not. It may completely collapse. We will tell you that. We will also tell you that the economies have been teetering on the edge, being propped up from different aspects from one to the other and on for the last several years. Now, that may also cause some of the change. We don't know how you're going to accept all these things, but there are several things that need to take place, and your systems need to be rebuilt. Right now, they are being taken over. You basically have a dictator that's running your country and just ignoring everything about the Constitution, the Supreme Court, everything else, and going to war when he wants to because it feeds his ego. The interesting aspect is he just went to war, and yet he wants the Peace Prize to be awarded to him. Very interesting situation. We don't quite understand the whole process. But we tell you, this is a fascinating aspect to see. Now, we also tell you, you have voice in this, much more than you think. You may think that people going out in the street carrying signs do not have an effect on people. They do. They have a profound effect on people. Furthermore, as you speak your truth, even if you're speaking it to someone who doesn't seem to want to listen, you're carrying more energy than you ever have before. Don't argue about it, but simply say, this is how I see things, and share that vision. Don't be afraid to share that vision. Don't be afraid to share the vision that you're concerned about your country. You should be concerned about your country. It has already stepped out of a leadership position in the world and has done so intentionally. The effects of that are tremendous and going to be worse. On top of that, you have an interesting situation. This is the third president to be in office with declining mental capacity. Very simple. You will see anger coming up more and more from this gentleman who's in the office right now. But it's the third. You have covered these over time and again. You keep bringing in these older people to run your country. Well, the age doesn't make that much difference, but the energy does. And that is a frustration. Or you're seeing decline of mental capacity taking place. You're seeing it happen with the people close to him. As we mentioned, there were two others before you. One you saw, one called Joseph Biden, was very clearly declining in mental capacity while he was in office. But he wasn't the first. There was another, Ronald Reagan, went completely off the deep end while he was in office and completely covered up. Now, why would you wish to go through all those things? We ask you to pay attention to what is taking place. Look at the larger aspect of what you have and the choices that all of you have in this matter. None of you control it, but all of you together can easily control it. But it takes that unity. It takes that connection. It takes seeing each other from that aspect to make it work. We hope to give you that courage to do exactly that. Espavo, dear ones.
Thank you for that, Steve. And I know that we have a lot of people here from other countries. And as an American, I would say we need your help too, and the energy to move us forward. So on a lighter note, we'll take a question from Jeannie M. And she said, I have watched you for many years and I really like what you're doing now. Even so, I miss seeing Barbara. Can you tell me if you ever talked to her?
You are speaking to the group now. She is always with us. So she is here regularly. As far as the keeper being able to communicate with her the way that he communicates with us, no, that is not possible. He knew her way too well, too closely. There was no distance for them to gap. But we tell you she's in his life quite often. She gives him signs from now and then. We call them cosmic winks. You see them all the time. When she first left, when she first died, when she first graduated, he went to the side of her bed and saw the blinking light going on and off, on and off. Very interesting aspects. But that alone doesn't really do much. It simply gives him hope that she's there, the hope that she made it to the other side of the veil. But the continual signs, if you look for them, dear ones, they are there. And her presence is here in his life all the time. It is absolutely fascinating to see. He even leads her into other potential relationships. Because you see, dear ones, there's no good or bad, jealousy, love, things of that nature. They don't separate the way that you do on earth. They're all one. It's a beautiful aspect. And what she wants for him more than anything else is for him to be happy, for him to be at ease, for him to enjoy the rest of his life on this planet. And she tries to tell him that, sometimes by blinking the lights. But does he communicate with her? Does he channel her the way that he channels us? No, he does not. He does not have that contract. There are others that can certainly channel her, but not him. He was way too close. So we hope that helps you understand that she's definitely around. And he misses her as well. Espavo.
Of course, she's around for those of us who ever got the chance to meet her. All right, this is from Jane. It sounds like a personal question, but I think it probably echoes what other parents could be going through these days too. So we'll go ahead and ask. Thanking you if you can take this request for insight and guidance. My 14-year-old granddaughter, Camilla, a brilliant student in advanced school, has turned into a negative, argumentative, rebellious cycle for reasons we do not understand. Now she hangs out with the bad kids who are not constructive, who steal and smoke cigarettes, and she lies constantly. Help most appreciated for how to help her and her struggling, devoted parents and sister get past this. Thanks again and love.
She is going through a power cycle. It is an interesting situation. We are actually bringing that information in currently in the Lightmaster class to talk about what these are and how they work. The first power cycle that a human experiences is usually at the age 2. You call it the terrible twos, because the child suddenly acts in the opposite way that they would normally act. The favorite word that the child uses during those times is no. Honey, do you want your favorite food? No, I don't. No, no, no. They learn to put up boundaries. They learn to take their power, even though it may lead them in a negative direction. Now, for children that do not do that, because there are many children who just are going to be good little children. They're going to be mommy's good little boy, good little girl. They're going to fit into the role rather than to fall into expressing their power. Then they go through cycles. There's another small cycle that takes place around 10 years old, but there's another one that hits right around puberty. You see, dear ones, puberty is a very magical situation for humans. We tell you the spirit doesn't actually completely enter the body until puberty. It takes all that time for a spirit to infiltrate itself into the body. And that is a very magical time. But that is also the time where they will experience a power cycle, especially if they didn't experience one earlier. And that's what took place here. Now she's going through her power cycle. She's going through her negativity. If this is supposed to be good, she's going to be bad for a while. She's going to be negative. She's going to dress differently than everybody else. She's going to wear different clothes. You know, she's very young, so she's not getting tattoos at this point, but that is probably in her near future. The reality is she is a contrarian at this point. Now, that's not a bad thing. However, it's very difficult for those of you who have grown up with her, who wish to take her to the highest potentials of her beauty and to see her in different ways. She's a very intelligent child, so keep that in mind. She's experiencing a massive power cycle. She's at the beginning of the power cycle right now, and probably been in it for several months now. This is where she brings other people around her. Are you worried about her friends because they are negative friends? Do not worry about that. She's the one that decides who her friends are. She's going to be the one that decides who gives her the most and who takes away from her. So don't concern yourself with trying to control her environment or the friends that she sees or things of that nature. Honor her power cycle. Let her know she's going in a negative direction from your eyes. Let her know that she's possibly heading toward difficulty in certain areas, but then let her go. Give her the freedom to go through the power cycle herself. Give her the freedom to fall. Give her the freedom to fail. But when she picks herself up, she will be in such an incredible energy. She's carrying a tremendous amount of energy. She's actually a teacher, and she will teach many people much in the long run. But right now, she has to go through some of these herself in order to get there. So don't over concern yourself with it. Keep an eye on it. Not that you have much control over it, but keep an eye on it. Watch what's taking place. Let her know you're watching. That's all that's needed. That's truly all that's needed. And also keep in mind the two key words for going forward in the future. And this applies to everyone. The two main key words for applying to the future are simple. They're responsibility and accountability. Very simple. Not only is she needs to be responsible for something in her life, but she also needs to be accountable for it. Set those two things up in her life, she will grow into them. She's probably not in them right now, but that's fairly normal. Don't concern yourself. You're actually on a good path and you're doing a great job. So give yourself a little credit as well. Espavo, dear ones.
Boy, that was a subject I'm sure is true in just about every country. So I think we thank Steve or the group for that answer. Next question is from Yvonne in Baltimore. Her question is, hello everyone. I have a question I've been curious about for decades, but have not seen an answer. The Christian Bible refers to Mary as the Virgin Mother, or to Jesus as the virgin birth. What exactly does this mean? Was Jesus conceived by artificial insemination? Thank you.
That's a great way to put it, to bring those words into your world today. We tell you, dear ones, there's so much energy around the stories of the past, the stories that have brought you forward, especially in your belief systems. And we tell you to get the larger picture rather than the small details, because the small details don't always make sense, and sometimes never will. We tell you the whole idea of the virgin birth did not begin with the story of Jesus. It was actually told many times before by the Druids. It was told before in different areas, along with December 25th as being a key element, along with the three wise men. There are many aspects that have been repeated in these stories over and over and over again. So you're asking us to tell you about a religion. Well, we are not experts at this religion, dear ones. That is a belief system that you have. We talk about beliefs all the time, but we also don't go with all the systems. In other words, if you believe this, it means you must believe all these other things as well. So take the individual pieces of it and know. We find it fascinating to think that Mary was possibly artificially inseminated. We hadn't even thought of that one ourselves. That's an amazing possibility to think about. No, that wasn't what happened, obviously. But the truth of the matter is the words were twisted around, especially around Mary Magdalene. The words were twisted around to put her in a submersive situation, which is why they called her a prostitute. Fascinating possibilities. But they're stories, dear ones. And many of these stories were collected and rearranged over and over and over again. Take the higher meaning of the stories and leave the details, leave the confusion for others that wish to wrestle with those individual pieces. Take the larger aspect and know that you're on schedule with this. We apologize. There was a problem with his microphone. So with that, take these pieces one by one, step forward with it, and know that you're on track. You can make this work. But don't attach yourself to all the small details. So we're sorry we're not able to completely answer your question, but maybe we did in a larger aspect. Espavo.
Okay, we have a question now from, see if I pronounce this right, or Orkide from, I think she's from Turkey. Hello, Stephen team. I recently read 4 of your books and was so impressed that I found you here with your wonderful content. I have a few questions related to reincarnation, and I'd be very grateful if you can answer them. Do you want to hear all 3 or one at a time?
One at a time would be good.
Good. Okay, first, do human reincarnations progress in a specific order, or is it possible to return to a time when you previously existed in a previous reincarnation?
Fascinating aspect. It is possible it is possible in some ways, but you can never over imprint the trail that you have left. In other words, when you incarnate, you leave a trail of light that we've spoken about many times. That trail of light is your story. It's the Akashic records. It's everything that you have done. So if you were to reincarnate in that same time frame, because time is an illusion of humanity, you have to have time to see where your place is in the world. And we tell you, even your sciences are starting to agree with this. Those that are watching the James Webb Telescope are starting to question whether time actually exists or not. Now, that will change everything if you start to see it that way, because the time element is what makes you think that visitors from far planets cannot visit you. Well, guess what? If time is an illusion, much of that can change pretty quickly. So you have different aspects of that you can work with. Now, do you incarnate in a specific order? Yes, you do. But that's entirely up to you. Entirely up to you. You see, your spirit is always about evolution. When you come to planet Earth, you are here to try and separate yourself from the whole so that you can learn something. Now, that can be rather painful sometimes, so you do it hesitantly. It's not easy taking off your wings and pretending to be a human. You have to learn everything almost all over again and remember the essence of who you really are. So it's very challenging, but you are the one that decides when, where, how, what contracts you will carry in order to do that. So that is the order that you work with. If you reincarnate in a timeline that already has your incarnation in it, it will be a different timeline. You will leave a different trail of light. You cannot meet the person that was you. That is not feasible. It's almost like magnetism. One person walks in the room, the other person naturally leaves. You'd never see each other. So it is a very similar situation to multi-dimensionality in this way, that if you were to cross against one of your other dimensions, you would never be able to see them. You would never be able to communicate with them because you are the same person. You're a reflection in many different ways. Now, we know that may have confused you a bit, but we hope it helps answer your question. Back to you. Number 2.
Okay, number 2. Also, if you have come in as a human once, do you always come in as a human in other reincarnations, or is it possible to come in as a plant or an animal?
It is possible to come in as a plant or an animal or as an insect or as a rock, a mineral. It is possible to do all of those things. Most of the time that is not done. It's not right or wrong, but it's simply a question of vibrational status. Once you achieve a certain vibration, it usually don't set back into another vibration. Now, you do have harmonics, so please understand, humans have a natural harmonic to crystals of all sorts. We tell you crystals, when you wear crystals close to your body, they actually help in the reverse aging process. They slow down the aging process to you. So this is one of the reasons that women wear rings with diamonds in them. That's part of why women tend to live a little bit longer than men, because they'll wear things more often than that. So you have that connection of harmonics that you can work with in different areas. I hope that answers your question. Back to you.
All right, number 3 on reincarnation. If a person reaches a sufficient level of consciousness, can they consciously break the chain of reincarnation in their final life and open themselves up to other forms of existence?
A spirit can do that at any time. You must understand, you are raising your vibration, you are improving yourself, you're evolving, you're doing all these things. But when you go home, there's no evolution. A spirit does not need to improve itself. It's perfect. When you come to planet Earth, you divide that perfection up into the different dimensions so that none of you are perfect, but all of you carry a little bit of that perfection in different ways. So the reality is you have many opportunities to play this game in different ways. Now, when you reach a certain level of consciousness, who decides that level? You do. And you may decide at any time, because there is no time on the other side of the veil. So it's very difficult to even have these conversations. But you decide really when you are coming back to Earth, how long you are going to be there, what the situation is. You set these things up. Even your lifespan. You give yourself opportunities to get out of there. We call those phantom deaths. Most people have 2 or 3 of them before they finally take an open door and leave the planet. So you set up many possibilities for you to come in and do it. Now, what about that level? Well, there is no specific level. And as we said, there's no improvement on the other side of the veil. So why would people constantly want to incarnate? Because it collects the whole. It changes everything from the outside to be able to see. You see, when you are infinite, you have no contrast. You can't see yourself. So that is only done by pretending to be human, to pretending to be separate and looking back, which is why you're looking for spirit, why there's so many religions on your planet. That's what's happening. You're looking back at the spiritual experience of a physical human. Very interesting, very powerful. We hope that helps. Thank you for the questions.
All right, thank you. And we have a question now from Fansja from Amsterdam. Are indeed 3 to 10 days of darkness coming in the near future? And is it wise to cover all our windows with black to keep out dark forces? Do we need to stay inside in these dark days with candlelight and prepare some food and water and a basket to use as a toilet? And if so, will this happen globally, worldwide? And is it at the same time connected to introducing the new GFS Global Bank and the electric system? So in touch, in love, and
we find that fascinating that you would put these attributes in different ways. The first question, 3 days of darkness. You have your candles ready, you have your survival kit ready, you have your basket ready, you have the different aspects. It sounds like fun. It sounds like you're gathering something for an afternoon picnic that you're going to have some fun with. Is it something you must be afraid of? Absolutely not. Is it going to happen? Only if you choose it to happen. It is not on the larger aspect of humanity. Very simple. We hate to disappoint you with that, but that is not the case. We do not see that as happening. The same way that we did not see anything happening with California falling off into the ocean on February 18th when it was supposed to. The reality is you have many aspects of visions of prophecy that people will see, and they will express them. But they also don't necessarily need to find truth. Many of these things travel because of conspiracy theories. The reality is they travel on your internet. much faster, much further than does the truth. But we can only give you what we see. We do not see that as taking place. And we hope you step out of the fear. But we also hope that you gather these things together and go have yourself a picnic. Maybe have yourself a day with just a candlelight to play with. You will enjoy that. Espavo.
I think I'm happy that that one is a conspiracy. All right. I think Steve already mentioned this in his introduction, but I guess we can ask the group this next question from Wendy. I was saddened to see you canceled the upcoming event in Belgium. Can you tell us what happened and if and when it will be rescheduled?
We will not answer this in channel. We will answer this after the keeper comes out of channel. He can address this into himself.
Okay, well, he had already given us a partial answer, so that might be adequate. We have another question from a longtime light master and translator, Sean Sin from Korea. Thank you for your continuous teaching. I have a question regarding the trail of light and portals. I understand that light workers and light masters leave behind trails of light, and that when they stay in one location for a duration, they create vortices that eventually become portals. Since many light masters are located in the US and Western Europe, while others are in South America, Africa, Asia, I'm wondering if these specific locations are related to the matter of the trail of light and portals. Additionally, I have heard several times that one should follow their heart when choosing a location. Could you please provide some insight on this?
Well, each of you will have to find your own space. But as far as finding your space that resides at where you wish to reside, that is not just a question of your heart. Because even if you end up in a place that is very negative, that you don't particularly care for, you are carrying the light that will change that place. You may be the answer that someone else has asked for. So don't judge yourself very quickly about where you are living or what the aspect of it is. You have changed a lot of where you are already. You are also a publisher in Korea that has handled all of the Keeper's books. All of the things that we have written, you have translated and put out into different areas. So your trail of light is rather large, dear friend, but please know that these are very magical places. You have created vortices. You have created vortices that have actually turned into portals. And those are the amazing aspects of it. So you will also find that there will be times where you'll move. You'll find your work is done in this location and you need to set a new trail of light. But keep in mind, you have lots to work with on that. And you have done an excellent job with that yourself. Now, is there a commonality between all of these places? Only that they have experienced it. These are places where the keeper and the keeper's keeper, named Barbara, had actually traveled during many years. They did seminars in 26 different countries. Their books were translated into 19 languages. So they were able to spread out in many different places, probably even more so than the United States. So we find it fascinating because it is the trail of light leads everywhere. And yours is magical. Keep it up.
Steve, we don't have too much time left. Do we want to take a few questions from the chat?
Perfect.
Okay, and I know we won't get to all of them, so I would encourage people to go ahead and send them in ahead of time if you're able, so that they have a greater chance of being answered. So let's start with Evita Becca, and she says, why do people feel physically bad? How to make these feelings lighter physically? Physical heaviness, headaches, etc.
The human experience has a weight to it. We'll put it in that term. What we simply mean by that is it takes energy to carry that body around. So when you actually find your body relaxing, You're not relaxing completely. There are muscles in your body that are very tense all the time. There are many muscles in your body that are in different ways. You have a certain amount of energy just being, and that can become cumbersome. That can start to weigh on people. Just that quiet weight of the body, the quiet weight of having to find yourself every day, to relocate where you are. Most people end up projecting into the future. This is who I am today, but this is where I'm going. This is what I want to be. This is what I wish to create. And that's not wrong, dear ones. But sometimes when you lose your vision of the future, the body weight gets very heavy. You get very frustrated. You can go into what you call depression. You can go into anxiety at those things. Those are what we call energy allergies. You basically get allergic to certain energies. And those are the pieces that we talk about. Well, there's many aspects of this that you can all work with. But know that you have capabilities of working with all of it and changing it, shifting your energy around in different ways to be able to see things from a different level. But the other piece about this is project into the future. Dare to see yourself doing something you absolutely love. Seeing yourself flow through life. Seeing yourself no longer struggle to carry that body. No longer struggle to have to put up with your daily things of where do I fit in the world? Where is my place? What am I? Who am I? You're a spirit. And you're a magical spirit. And we know you can't see that with your human eyes, but we can. And we will hold the mirror up for you in many different ways. Over the next 6 days, you will get cosmic winks, things that will show you that you're on the right path. Anchor into them. Allow us to show you the magic from our side of the veil. Espavo, dear one.
Okay, this is from well, something like that. So their question relates to CERN and what you were talking about earlier about a new portal. So what is their intention and purpose for opening up another portal? Humanity isn't ready to manage with ethics the ones we already have. My concern is the rippling effect.
Well, that is absolutely true. Please understand the people at CERN are not intentionally opening up a portal. What is taking place is the same thing that happened in 1948, some of the areas around there. You humans developed an atomic bomb, and you set them off. And that attracted attention in the universe. Much attention, especially from your full parental races. They became very interested in Earth, and although they had been around for a very long time, you see evidence of them in petroglyphs that you find. You find ancient writings about them in different areas. They're not pointed to as something strange because they were normal in those days. Now, today, you would think that those were very odd and very strange in different ways. But you have much attributes, many things that are taking place that you can all anchor off of. You have much help that's coming in different ways. What we tell you is the people at CERN are doing some incredible work. They're discovering things on a minute particle basis. By simply, what they are doing is very simple. They're taking particles and they're moving them around this large circle almost at the speed of light. Very close to the speed of light. That is a trigger point for the universe. That is a shared reality. It is not actually the speed of light. It is the speed of energy in different ways. But we'll tell you that is a magical thing. So just the movement of these particles, because what they do is they send them through around, get them up to the speed of light, and then they smash them together. And they look at the remains to see what made what these atoms were made of, what these different aspects were doing, and it shows much of this, much of the theories that went before, particularly with the Higgs boson and different aspects of that. It's been able to prove things that were only theory a short time ago. Now, with that, they're creating portals, but they're not aware of the portals. There are a couple of people that have seen the evidence and may even leak that out from inside of CERN, but that is not their intent. What is happening is, by moving something almost at the speed of light, you are attracting energy and opportunities from other places in the universe. And that can open portals. Very simple. So that's what's happening. Is it a bad thing? No, it's not a bad thing at all. The reality is, as we mentioned, the gate is being guarded. You have 4 parental races. You had 6 parental races. 2 of them have come to conclusion. But we tell you the 4 parental races are very present, and they're watching out for you. So please, relax. Enjoy this journey. Know that these portals can open up opportunities for massive change for good, and the energy that bring you in a different way. That's what we hope the highest potential for all of this is. Espavo.
This one is from You Angel 1111. I have heard that it is a good investment to buy land. In the same time, I've heard that many parts of the world will be underwater in 2032. Can you say something about Scandinavia's many coastal areas?
There will be changes having to do with coastal areas that are happening already. Much of it is being hidden from view. They're very concerned about people suddenly deciding that this is not a proper place to live and leaving places en masse. So the energy is very quiet about much of this. But the water is rising. It is not going to rise equally everywhere at the same time. But we tell you water is becoming a change on your planet. You're going to see much more of this continue. By the time you hit 2030, you'll know much more about what is taking place with the planet and even have potential opportunities to balance some of this energy. So 2032 may not be quite as devastating as you think, but we also tell you land masses are changing. You're seeing it in different ways. You'll see it in Scandinavia. You have lots of opportunities for low-lying areas to be flooded. Yes, there are many places on the planet that are very popular. You're looking at Florida. There are many places of this nature that have low-lying areas and, more importantly, underground water. When you have underground water and water on the top, you have a potential problem. And those will start showing up in different ways. But again, they're going to be kind of quiet because no one wants to set everything on fire at once and have mass movements in fear. But your common sense will lead you a long way here. Now, to invest in land, well, invest in land is always a gamble, is it not? There are many times where people have invested in real estate thinking that real estate has always produced a good result, only to find that maybe it didn't. So it will have a lot to do with you, your energy, and where you go, more than finding the exact best investment. We hope that helps a little bit. Espavo.
All right, we have a question from Paulina. Greetings. Could you please elaborate on the possibility to make new contracts in this life and not just between lives as it was before? I think we've heard about this in lectures.
Yes, we did. Sorry. Yes, the potential of conscious contracts is something you can always do. You do it all the time anyway. That is what your marriage vows are. They're conscious contracts. You say, we're going to do this together. I promise this, you promise that. We're going to come together and do something together. These are conscious contracts. As we mentioned, your contracts on the other side of the veil, they're quite elaborate and many times will bring you together. But you may have a relationship in a previous lifetime that just didn't gel. You weren't able to find that connection in some way, or you misunderstood something, or you projected incorrectly. And you wanted to revisit that in this lifetime. So you make a contract. They're sitting across the table from you. You say, will you meet me again? And maybe we can have another go at this. Maybe we can change some of the things that we are doing and do it differently. And they agree and they say yes. So when you reach 35, suddenly you think you've already gone through your life and you've messed everything up, and suddenly you meet someone. Well, that's the contract, to meet. What you do with that from that point is entirely up to you. So that becomes a contract that was made on the other side of the veil, which turns into a conscious contract if you decide to take it further. If you decide to get married, there is actually a contract you sign, is there not? So the reality is there are ways that you can do this in different ways. Now, conscious contracts, you can actually make a conscious contract with a spirit being. But what happens when humans do that is rather interesting. Because the first thing that happens is you pull up an image in your mind in order to make that contract. And say, I want to make a contract with someone who's going to love me the rest of my life. They're going to walk next to me and stand with me all throughout my life and love me and let me love them and make this wonderful contract together. But then you pull up an image, and when you meet someone that does not fit that image, you throw it away. So conscious contracts are a little more challenging because when you make a contract on the other side of the veil, you don't have the image. You don't need the image. You have a magnetism, which is naturally going to pull you together. And sometimes, even if you pass each other, you'll go all the way around and come back together again from that same magnetism. So there is a difference in the way that these project, but you can absolutely do it. Now, the interesting part about it is you are living on planet Earth. So you're dealing with the 80-20 rule. When you manifest something, you're generally going to get 80% of it with untanted. The other 20% will be up to resistance, will be up to the circumstances at hand. But the reality is you may not project exactly what you are looking for. So don't try to project into a person. You cannot create a person the same way you cannot create a relationship. What you can create is the opportunity for you to feel loved no matter what happens. And that draws in the relationship. So it happens anyway in a different situation. Love yourself. Have fun. Enjoy. Smile a lot. It's very sexy and very attractive. We hope that helps. Espavo.
We're getting clues on the scientist of the heart here. Okay, this question is from A Graceful Tulip. Religion versus spirituality.
Oh, that's great. That's all you give us, religion versus spirituality. Spirituality is basically understanding that you are not a human. It's real simple. You know that innately. You know that deep inside, but you're always trying to prove it to yourself in some way. So you look for things beyond you. You look for the magic in life. You used to look at the stars. The stars would rule everything. And did it work? Yes, of course it worked. You're the creator, not the stars. You create many things that you believe in different ways that seem to just manifest in different opportunities. But you have capabilities of creating a lot of different aspects. Create the things in you that settle you. Create the things in you that empower you. Dare to reach into a level of being able to walk on this planet freely, not bound by what people are expecting, not bound by your ideas of how you're going to influence people, but just to walk freely, to walk, as we said, love fiercely. Play with that energy all the time. And if it doesn't work, allow yourself to retreat and love again. Move in a different direction. Love again. That'll help. Espavo, dear one.
Okay, we've heard about the United States and Scandinavia, and now this one's about Canada. I have grave concerns of the disrespectful stripping of our natural resources, people's freedoms that are being stripped, abused, and our future potential. So what's up in Canada?
Oh, there's many changes that are taking place on a global basis having to do with politics, having to do with global leaders. There's much energy that is moving in many different directions. There is a power grab, we'll simply leave it there, going on globally in different areas. Now, you might think that to be a very negative thing, and in many cases, it is definitely negative, because you can only grab power for short durations. Long term, the pendulum will swing. We talked about humans being influenced, humans being controlled. Yes, you are being controlled, but you're humans. You will learn. You will reach a level where you've had enough, where you simply will say, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to play that game anymore. Let's look over here. There will be times when you do all of those things. And that's the magic that we see. That's the part that we want to remind you of, that you are magic. You have capabilities far beyond your understandings. Play with it. Bring it forward. Do those things that make you smile and make you love. Espavo.
Thank you. I'm skipping over a couple personal questions, and let's see. My apologies. It's scrolled up too fast for me. Okay. Do our animals have karma to resolve?
Animals do. Animals have their own system, very similar to humans. It is on a different vibrational level, so you don't always connect with this way. For instance, you cannot communicate with your animals in a communication of words like you do with your other humans. And yet, you can communicate with them if you simply pay attention. They'll look you in the eye and tell you everything you need to know. So the reality is they're on a different level. They do work with karma. They do work with evolution more than karma. Karma itself was a wonderful scorekeeping system built into the natural system, natural corrections and balances in place. But we also tell you karma is not used as much today as it was 100 years ago. We tell you that it's not needed as much today as it was 100 years ago. So karma itself is changing and evolving. But we also tell you all the beings are on their own cycle of evolution. And there are times when they change. There are times when a plant becomes an animal, when an animal becomes a human. There are times when it goes backwards, not very often. But as we mentioned, there are times that you have capabilities of incarnating on many different levels. But the fascinating part is you're doing well. And when you recognize and harmonize with those other levels, you make your own life so much easier because everything starts to harmonize with you. You can walk in the forest and instead of being distracted, you are fed by all the beautiful energy, by all the divas of the forest. Those are magical times. Espavo.
Okay, maybe take one more. We're getting,
Sure.
I guess, over 93 minutes, so we might just need to wrap it up here. So this is reality potential is exciting. Bullying is a huge part of the current Earth reality. How do the EDs handle this? Any advice how we can address this macro-micro level?
This level actually has a lot more to do with humans than ETs or EDs. The interesting aspect is this is basically the feminine energy rising. Because what happens when the feminine energy rises? It stirs the masculine energy. And in a place where you have duality, where you have up and down, right and wrong, good and bad, which is the area you are moving out of, the third dimensional reality that you had, that can be very threatening. It can be very threatening to have some of that. So some of this is considered to be good and bad in different ways. But you have a beautiful connection to be able to change everything in your life. Can you reread that last piece? We have a distraction here.
How we can address this macro-micro level
I'm
about
sorry,
the
I didn't have
bullying.
your. Yes, thank you. The masculine energy takes this as a threat and overextends. Now, this has been again, a power cycle, because the people who are bullying are doing it because they feel like they are getting power out of it. Somehow they're getting some response out of it. And they do. They create fear. And fear is a massive motivator in different ways. You're seeing it used on a daily basis right now, globally. So you have bullying that's going on many different levels. You have government leaders that are bullies right now. Very easy to see. You can point them out very, very simply. And are they being successful? Well, some of them are actually considered to be very strong leaders by some. So the reality is you're balancing this masculine-feminine energy. And it does take some practice to do. You have become very aware on planet Earth of bullying. You were not so much aware of it before. You are starting to really understand the devastating effect this has, especially with younger children, and the energies that can cause as they grow and how they can move. But that is changing. Celebrate the fact that you're even asking this question. Celebrate the fact that looking for bullying and trying to resolve it is something that many people on this planet are doing right now. And that's incredible. That means that the feminine energy is rising successfully. So keep that in mind. You will find a lot of this changing in days ahead. With that, dear ones, we are going to end this little gathering we have today. But before we do, the Keeper is going to come back in and speak to you for just a moment. But for the time being, we simply will leave you with the greatest of love, knowing that everything you touch in your life is leaving a trail of light behind you. It will be studied for eons of time by those who wish to read those Akashic records, by those who wish to find out how planet Earth actually did it. You're doing better than you imagine. Keep that hope up. Keep that energy moving. And know that you're never alone. We are here with you all the time. So with the greatest of honor, I ask you to treat each other with respect. Nurture one another every chance you get and play well together. I am the scientist of the heart. And I love you dearly. Espavo. Give me just a second. Oh, sorry. Sometimes it's hard to let go. I wanted to address what we talked about with the event that we had in Belgium. We've canceled the event in Belgium. We had. I personally have been having difficulties with my left eye. I've had difficulties with my eyes since I was 3 years old. So they have been my Achilles heel in this lifetime. I had a procedure done recently, which would have been cleared in about another week. It would have been completely over. It did not take. As a result, I am not able to drive in the evenings. And I would never, the way I'm looking right now, the way I'm working with this eye, I would never drive in a foreign country. And that's why we canceled this event. There was several things going on. It wasn't coming together well. I wasn't happy with some of the things about food at the location. So we had some other issues as well, but the main thing was my eyes. I may have to have this procedure done again. If I do, it probably won't be until May or even June that I'll be able to see fully. So that's why we canceled this event. And I just wanted to share everybody with that. Thank you for asking, but we did cancel that event entirely. The one in Belgium. I was really looking forward to it, and we will come back. We will put it back on the calendar as soon as I get some situation with my eyes. Actually, I may know something in a couple weeks, so we'll find out more about that. But that's where the problem was. It was with me not being able to drive because I have to go pick up my equipment and all this other stuff. So it was a big deal. Anyway, that was it. Just wanted to address that. Thank you all for being here. I really enjoyed these gatherings in this way. And you light masters, I loved what we did the other week. We're going to do that on a regular basis. We're going to get together on Zoom. We're going to share some energy and share some time. Debbie, thank you so much for coming on board today and handling it all. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks, hon. All right, everybody. With that, travel well, treat each other with the greatest respect that you can, make space for lots of things, and hopefully we'll all see through this little crack in the universe that's coming, this little crack in reality where we'll be able to see a little bit of home. That's the idea. Espavo, everybody. You are loved.